Hiya folks, this is a video on a commonly asked question all over the place in what makes a good bushcraft or survival knife. I like to call it a bushcraft knife because honestly I don't really believe that the world is going to end anytime soon. Now you may have a survival knife on you when some kind of, who knows, plane crash, getting stranded somewhere happens, but the knife that's on you is really what a survival knife is. The tool that you have is the best tool for your situation because it's the only one you have, obviously. But I'm going to get you started on what you would want if you wanted to go out into the woods and put yourself in a situation like that, which is basically what bushcraft means. Alright, let's start it off with this. This is a Victorinox, what is it, Trailmaster? And the thing about folding knives is bushcraft is you can't baton them through wood, so you're not going to do so much splitting, unless if you use this saw. There are ways to split wood with the saw. Look up splitting wood with a saw, and I think Ray Mears does it. Somebody else might, I don't remember. But if it's Ray Mears, you usually can trust it. So you can split wood with the saw, you can carve, open cans, open bottles, whatever. You got an awl for your leather, you got a screwdriver for your screws, and these also double as flatheads right there. So this right here has a variety of tools on it already, which is why they made the Swiss Army knife, is to have a variety of tools on you at all times if you have one of these in your pockets. But the thing about folding knives is they're not just going to be as sturdy as a regular knife. I mean, not a regular, but a fixed blade. So we'll start here with the smallest fixed blade on the table. I just grabbed a random bunch. Some of them were already on here, these two, because I was making a review. Here we have, this is just a little kinfolks. Got it at a flea market for like 10 or 12 bucks. Or maybe it was a gun show. But yeah, you can get small old hunting knives for around 10 bucks consistently. I have another kinfolks that's actually bigger than this, which you may have seen a video on. I think it was in my knife collection video. That was only 10 bucks. But the good thing about these is you can, it's going to be more solid. You can do maybe some light batoning. Plus, the thing about a fixed blade is, you know, it's not going to be folding up on your fingers, no matter, like, if you trust lockbacks or not. I don't really trust any mechanical device. So, yeah, it's going to be nice and solid. But the thing that you're really going to want to look for is a full tang that you can actually see. Now, this isn't my only knife with a full tang that you can actually see, but it's the one that I use the most. I don't know why. But yeah, you can see this full tang all the way through here, and that lets you know that this is a solid tool. It's not going to go anywhere. You can do this, you can do that. It's not shaking, rattling, nothing. Okay? It's a solid piece. These are just for holding. It's not actually a component of the knife. It's just for comfort. And that's what they're supposed to be for. The grip is not actually supposed to be a sturdy component of the knife that actually holds the knife together. That's not what it was meant to be when they made knives. Unless you're talking about stone tools, but that's a whole different story. So here we got this. Then we got this Ontario. I'm not going to pull it out. This has a rat tail tang, which means this right here is the tang. That's the thickest that it is, all the way through. So it's not going to be as sturdy as this, even though it might be thicker. It's going to have some weak points because, believe me, if the blade is holding up to the pressure that you're doing, and you have a full tang that you can see, the tang is going to be holding up to it. Probably the weakest point is not going to be here. It's going to be here at the tip. The weakest point of this one is probably going to be here, here, anywhere where you have a lot of pressure. If you're trying to chop, which knives are not normally for chopping, you can chop with a knife. Go ahead and do it. I normally have an axe, so I don't subject my knives to lots of chopping, which is why I like a little knife like this. You can hold it back right here, and I like to use it for collecting tinder mushrooms. You can just hold it like this, get underneath the mushroom and pry, or you can dig with a fixed blade knife, dig small holes for roots or tubers. It's gonna be hard to do that with like a folder because it's gonna get dirt everywhere inside it. Here we got a Caleralis, same thing, spike tang, rat tail tang, whatever, same thing. Here we have a Gerber LMF2. I do not know if it's a spike tang or anything because you can't see inside it. All I know is it's definitely not connected to this pommel because, as you've seen in my update video, it rattles and the pommel's not moving. Now, that's not necessarily the worst thing in the world. It doesn't mean this tool is gonna completely shatter and break apart, but it doesn't mean that it's not going to, which kind of concerns me. Under the right circumstances, any knife will break. And we subjected this knife to something that a knife like this isn't supposed to be subjected to, which is batoning and chopping. Any knife is not supposed to be subjected to batoning and chopping. Even knives where they say, you know, you got a lifetime warranty no matter what you do with it, still not meant to be doing that. Even if they tell you it's meant to be doing that. Even if, like, with the Buck Hoodlum, Ron Hood, he's not alive anymore, he's not with us. But in his video, he shows batoning with the knife. Just because he shows he shows himself doing that does not mean that I would go around doing that and expecting nothing to ever happen under any circumstances ever. Kind of like a tongue twister there, but you know, that's how it is. Every knife will break at some point, no matter if you got a Becker BK2 1/4 of an inch thick. If you jam that into a metal pipe and start twisting it around, eventually it's going to break. Here we got a Mora, one of the sharpest knives in the world, in my opinion, next to maybe like a razor blade. Once again, this is a spike tang. They'll break under the right conditions, but it's still going to be more solid than this. I would not go batoning with this. Oof, I'm out of breath. There are knives that, so I don't have one with me, but if I were to get one, like, if you were looking for a bushcraft knife, I would recommend something like this and a little bit thicker. This isn't the only tool I carry when I do carry it. Sometimes I'll carry my Mora, sometimes I'll carry this. Depends on how I'm feeling, really, because I like to test all the tools. I've carried this before, carried this, carried that. I've carried that. My dad mostly carries that because he likes it. Carried this, and that's all I got on the table. So I've carried all these knives. And the thing that I know most is use it how you are intended to, really, how it's intended to. So I suggest something like this. Now, I'm not really going to get into the whole made in USA, not made in USA. That's like a big giant controversy. You know, people are like, oh, only buy American made. Well, there's knives made by American companies in foreign countries. Really, I don't know. I mean, if it holds up well, it's good to me. Which, this is not American made, it's Swedish made, but I don't hear anybody complaining, oh, don't buy Moras, they're not American made. People only really care when they're made in countries where that would be considered maybe third world, just because, you get what I'm saying. Like, here's an example, Cold Steel. They make a lot of their knives in China and countries like that. It's bad for our economy, but that doesn't mean that their knives are complete crap and that they break in one swing. I think if you took a Cold Steel Trailmaster, obviously, and paired it up with this Mora, the Mora's going to break first. And that's just common sense, but every day you got people going, oh, don't buy Cold Steel. I don't have Cold Steel. Personally, it's nothing to do with the country where they're made in. It's more of, I don't like their advertisement. They think they're better than everyone. You know, they're like, try doing that with this and that, and oh, I'm just gonna jam this knife in between a pallet and climb up with it. And like, hey, here's a side of beef. Let me jam my knife into that and slide it down. You know, that's not really a practical use. I mean, yeah, fighting knives, sure. The Cataralis has been used by a fighting knife. Most these were designed by quartermasters for prying open boxes, cutting stuff, hammering in nails with the butt cap. But a lot of them made it into the hands of soldiers passing through, because quartermasters, a lot of them were some shady individuals, if you know what I'm saying. They stole a lot of things in the boxes and traded it with troops who were passing through. And a lot of their knives ended up in fighting soldiers' hands, and they've killed people. Any knife will do the trick, you know? People go, oh, I want to take knife training videos, or knife training courses and stuff. Really, I honestly think anybody can pick up a sharp thing and go like this. Okay? So, you know, if you're gonna kill someone with a knife in self-defense, I think that for one, you're not prepared enough to actually have a handgun. But if you live in a country where they don't have concealed carry, they don't have guns, nothing like that, I recommend some pepper spray or something, because you're not going to want to pick up even something like this against a criminal who probably has a stolen gun from God knows where. It's just, yeah, if this is all you got, go ahead and use it, a knife. But when somebody's coming at you with a gun, I think I'd rather have some pepper spray or a stun gun, something. I'm going off. Alright, carbon steel versus stainless. If you'll notice, every knife on here is carbon steel except the Gerber. Now, the Gerber is a stainless, but it has some carbon in it. Actually, yeah. And this one. So these two are the only stainless blades. And the reason and actually, these are my brothers. The reason all of these are carbon is because I bought them, and I like carbon blades. Nothing wrong with stainless. You don't like it rusting, but carbons are going to sharpen better, and they're going to hold an edge longer. And you can strike them on some, like, any kind of rock with a hardness over 7. It's going to shower sparks, and it's going to do the job. And if you got like a sharp corner, it's going to help you with your, God. Okay, sorry about that. I forgot what it was called. It's a ferrocerium rod, and mine has magnesium on it. This one's used pretty well. But yeah, you can strike your ferrocerium rod on it pretty well. And that's why I think carbon is probably better than stainless. Not to say that all stainless knives are complete crap. Like this Gerber is stainless and it's totally fine. I mean, I never had a problem with it. But it's never really dulled on me, and I've never needed a razor edge on it. It does not have a razor edge. This Swiss Army knife is stainless. And it's not a razor blade, but it's sharp. This is very sharp. Is that some rust on there? Oh crap. More is a rusting. See, that's why carbon's not good. I think I rinsed out my sheath yesterday. I was using it for something. Must got some moisture on it. I'll hold that off later. But we got all these knives. And carbon versus stainless, big dispute. Big knife versus small knife, big dispute. So I'm going to cover those now. Big knife versus small knife, really. Let's get you started. A big knife is great for certain things. Now, short-term survival, yeah, go ahead and grab your RTAC 2, Rat 7, Cold Steel Trailmaster, Ontario SP10, Ontario SP5, SE Hoonglas. Any of those were great, and I'm sure there's plenty more. Those are just off the top of my head. I named like 4. Those are going to do great for gathering wood, but for a long-term survival or permanent survival, which I think if there is going to be some kind of thing where I'm going to actually need to bug out into the woods, it's going to probably be for permanent. So I'm going to need something like an axe, which I have an axe at my location. And the reason why you need an axe is with an axe you can chop down a huge tree, and honestly, depending on what time it happens, say you get there at the end of fall, winter's coming, okay? You may be in a location where the winters aren't so harsh, but where we are, you probably won't survive winter very long if you don't have a good stockpile of wood, because you're not going to want to go walking around chopping down giant oak trees in the middle of the winter. You're going to want some oak for sure, though, because it's going to get a good coal bed. So you're going to want to chop down, you can chop down a huge tree with an axe, and on top of that, you can split wood with a large bladed knife using batoning. But, hang on one second. But the thing about that is, if you're chopping with your knife and you're chopping out the wood, you're not going to really get a good flat surface to lie it down on or to set it down on. So if you have any log bigger than maybe 4 inches in diameter, I'll use this blade as a reference because I know how long it is. If you got any knife probably bigger than that, you're not really going to be able to stand it up. I mean, you can hold it down with a knife and then start hitting it, but if it's any bigger than that, it's going to be a difficult task to do. Now, not to say that it can't be done, but with an axe, you can chop it just about any size you want, probably up to the full length of this knife, and then you lie it down on its side on top of a platform, and then you can split it just like splitting it from the top. You don't have to split it from the top all the time. You can split it from the side, and it's way more effective, I've found. And I've tested all kinds of ways of splitting wood with a knife like this just to see what could be done. I've jammed the tip. I keep saying jammed, I don't know why. I've stuck the tip in and batoned it down and split wood that way, and then pried once it got to the bottom. I've split it. I've chopped it in half, and then I've chopped it like halfway through, and then just whacked it on the thing until a piece broke off. I've pretty much done any way that I could imagine with a large knife, and I've done it just that one way with the axe. And the reason for that being is there's a lot more surface on a knife blade than an axe. An axe, you're limited to like this, or if you have like a full-size axe, you're like this. And there's not really, you can carve with an axe if you have to, but it's going to be hard to get your axe to like a honed edge like that where you can actually carve. And a knife's going to be more easy to sharpen. So I'm really pro everything. Whatever works for you. I'm not going to go saying, oh, big knives suck, use an axe. I'm not going to go, oh, big axes suck, use a big knife. Really, whatever works for you is fine, as long as you keep in mind that not to exert too many calories, whatever you're doing. If what you're doing is going to exert more calories than you can get in a short period of time afterwards, it might not be the best idea to do. And I hate to say it, but if you're not really thinking too straight, there's no going back once you buy an axe and you're out there and all you have is an axe. Which is why you might want two. You might want Buck Hoodlum, RTAC 2, Ontario, whatever, small machete maybe, and then you might want a Wetterling's chopping axe next to it, or an oxhead axe. I don't have either, but I've heard good reviews on both. The axes I use are usually old American just designs that have been around in sheds and whatever, buy them at flea markets, and that's where a lot of my knives come from. You know, I'm not the richest, but I'm not saying I'm poor. But every knife on this table was under $100. I'm gonna say that right now. Half were under $20, and about 2 or 3 were under $10. One was under $5. This was $2. You saw my video on that. But anyways, big controversy. All kinds of pros and cons to everything. Just keep in mind, whatever works for you. Don't go to some Joe Schmo's video going, hey, this guy likes axes, I'm gonna buy an axe only. Hey, this guy likes big knives, I'm gonna buy a knife only, big knife only. Try both, you know? You don't have to buy both. Just experiment around. Maybe borrow one. You know, you can practice big knife techniques with a larger kitchen knife, and then buy a more sturdy long-term knife such as RTAC 2. So all in all, I hope you liked the video. I had a great time making it, and this is probably one of my longest videos yet. So anyways, have a good day and stay safe. God bless you.